Hi everyone, welcome to this video. Today I want to show you the new recruit army builder. Now the reason I thought it might be worth doing a video on this is because I've seen quite a few of questions on the Barons War Facebook page asking about army builders. Now there is the army builder that is I believe currently on the Warhost website. However, it is quite out of date. It's not been updated for the second edition. In fact, I don't think it has anything outside of the core Barons War profile. So there's no Welsh in there, there's no Outremer, there's no Death and Taxes, and it has been quite a while since it's been updated. I did see in a post today, actually, in response that Andy mentioned that the person who created it for them can no longer update it. So they're looking for a way that they can actually have an army builder that the Barons War team can own and update themselves, which that would be a massive positive. There are other army builders available. There's a couple of spreadsheets on the Barons War page that have got army builders. They're pretty good. I even had a go at tweaking a spreadsheet myself to make it into an army builder, but since the second edition's come out, it's completely changed the formulas that you would need to make it work. I have seen one which looks quite good, but that's again part of the reason why I wanted to show you this, because this does everything for you. It can be a bit clunky, and I have tried to use it on a tablet, and whilst it does work, it takes a little bit of getting used to. It seems to be better on PC or laptop, so that's what I'll show you today. So this is the landing page, and it's just newrecruit.eu, it's the website. You can click here to try it. You don't have to create a profile, but if you do, there are certain benefits. So as you can see here, when you go onto here, it will come up with lots of different games. It has some preloaded like Horus Heresy, Age of Sigmar, different things like that. So it would look a bit more like this. But if there's any games on there you don't want to play, you can quite easily just clear them off by pressing that button. To add the games you want to play, you can search in this button here, so you can see Barons War. It also tells you when it was last updated, which is quite good. So you can add Barons War. For example, if you wanted to add Middle Earth, you can see that was updated 4 days ago. So whoever's running this is actually doing quite a good job of keeping up to date with different games and different updates. So you can add as many games as you want here, you can remove them, it's all quite intuitive. If you want to set up an account, you can log in. All you need is a username and a password. Then what is quite good is it actually, I wait for this pop-up to disappear, it brings in the lists you've already created. So I've got 2 lists here, around 800 points that I've been playing with, and I found this useful because I wrote the lists on my tablet, and then I could log in and I could pull them up on my computer or on my phone. So it's quite good. There's that cross system support, which is really I quite liked. To create a list, quite simple. Click create a list. Choose the faction. Now imagine when it comes to having different types of factions, possibly like Outremer and some of the others, that this list will be a bit longer, but for the minute it's just the second edition. You can put a name for your faction. So let's go test 1, and you can pick a points limit. So I don't think there's any limit to how many points you can put in here if you wanted, but let's go for the minute with 500 points, and then you can create a list. Now you can see what is quite good here is you've got little exclamation marks. This tells you where there are certain rules, so like list building rules, which you haven't met. So it's quite good here. So it tells you here I need at least 50 points of green troops. So it will tell you the different errors that you've made. So for example, you need a retinue commander, you need to pick certain bits and pieces, and it's quite good as you're going through if it's trying to tell you that the list isn't valid for whatever reason. So you can see on the left hand side here you've got things like you've got your Baron, so you've got the different tiers of Baron, the different tiers of Lord, so the tier 2 that'll be a Lord, Mounted Lord, and then Sergeants at Arms, and then you've got your tier 1 Warriors. I kind of wish they did them in the other order, so you had the Barons and the Commanders first and then the Warriors, but that I think is just from when I've previously written lists, I start with the Commander and the Command unit. You've also then got the factions, so this is what I meant about the catalogue in the previous page. I imagine once you've got different books released, you might end up having here something along the lines of, I don't know, maybe Outremer, Settled Franks, Islamic Armies of Islam, um, Welsh, anything like that from the different expansions that have come out. So I imagine, fingers crossed, that's what will go into that bit. So let's have a look at the commanders. So if you want to add a mounted baron, you click Add a mounted baron. It tells you one of them needs to be your retinue commander. Over on the right hand side here, you get all the different options of what you can add to your commander. So you can click retinue leader, and you can see that warning disappears. You can also see up here as well the points. It's a live update for the points, which I really like. I struggle writing lists with pen and paper because I like to add and remove things on the fly when I'm writing a list, to sort of like try tweak it and sort of like try and make it as efficient as I can. And doing that with pen and paper is virtually impossible because you have to do the maths as you go, and it just gets painful. But on the selection side, you can select different levels of experience. So, for example, if you want to select a veteran baron, you can put that in. You can select the weapon you want, and if you notice, you can't pick more than one, which is quite good. So you can't pick a sword and a mace. You can add a lance if you want to, and then you can pick shield. Notice there's no option there for a small shield because a mounted baron can't have a small shield. So it's already sort of like preset on what they can and can't have. You can add a barded horse, and then you can add upgrades to the command group. So I'll add those for the minute. The bit at the moment to bear in mind is that this is just your baron. It's not his command group. The command group is created by adding a tier 1 group and then clicking that it is part of the retinue leader's command group. So whilst you can add the command upgrades here, it's not actually adding the points for the models themselves. So you're paying the point for the upgrade, not for the troops. You've got abilities that you can add. Now I really like this because not only does it tell you the ability, but if you click this little eyeball here, it tells you what the actual ability does, which is brilliant in my opinion. I know some people might be a little bit kind of like, oh well, the rules, you should find the rules in the rule book, and I do agree, but this isn't telling you how to play the game, it's just helping you with the abilities. So if you want to look through and see, like one of my favorites is Experienced Tactician here, you can see, it applies to the commander only, it does this, this and this. It's really good. You can, again, it's helping sort of like you can build the model on the fly and you can see exactly, or the profile on the fly and see exactly what you're getting. And again, if you scroll down a bit further, you get a bit more detail around sort of like the movement, attack, defense, morale, you get their equipment, and this is all really useful stuff to have either as you're building the list or as you're playing the game. And of course, it gives you the inherent abilities, it gives you the command group upgrades, and it gives the rules. So all in all, pretty good. And actually, I've just noticed you can drag that across, which makes it even easier to read. So say we've added our mounted baron, we then want to add some mounted knights to his command group. Actually, if I was to add just regular knights, command group. Okay, I don't think that's, I'm trying to see if, yeah, so it hasn't flagged. Yeah, it hasn't flagged that I'm trying to make a command group from foot knights, but that's all right. I mean, we kind of understand. So say, for example, we're adding a mounted knights. You can then do exactly the same. So you can click here to make them part of the command group, which essentially adds them to the cost for the mounted baron. So if we've got 3 upgrades, we'd need to have a minimum of 3 mounted knights. So each knight would get one of those upgrades. We can adjust their experience level, we can adjust the weapons they've got, and essentially everything you want to do. You can't, as you see, take mail off, because knights have to be equipped with mail. You can give abilities, and you get the profiles again. Okay, so it's very, very useful. And say, for example, we wanted to add some green units. One of my current favourite is green monks. So we've got 4 there. Let's put them to green. You can see we're still getting the green troop sort of like the warning here that there's an error. So we can keep clicking. Boom, you can see it's gone. And if we select a weapon, give them hand weapons, the error message disappears. So it's quite useful in this. So say for example, we've got, we've got 6. Yeah, 6 is what we would need to get to 50%. Yeah, we'll get 500 points, I suppose, isn't it? So 54 points. So let's have a look what else we can add. Let's add some bowmen. We'll put them regular, so we can see here they get every bloody Sunday. And I like to have my groups of bowmen at 6. You can, if you want, duplicate the unit, so you don't have to put it in twice. So you can see now we've got a mounted baron, 3 mounted knights, 6 militant monks, 6 bowmen, 6 bowmen. We're at 434 points. Let's add in some levy, and they can be irregular, and we'll just keep going until we're over the points there. 494 points. So if we give them a small shield, no, we'll take a shield and spears. Yeah, well, let's call it 494 points. So this is how the list looks. It can be a little bit, like I said, I would rather have the Baron at the top and then the Warriors underneath, or the Baron and their commander group together and then the Warriors. But what I did notice is when you export it, which is this button up here in the corner, you can choose different things. So you can get text, which is just plain text. You can select pretty, which gives it to you in this very nice format here. So you've got essentially a unit card for bowmen, a unit card for levy, militant monks, mounted knights, and then your baron. And you get at the top here what is actually in your list. I like this because you can save this as PDF. If you wanted, you could even print it. One of the other ones they got on here is templates, and you can pick different options here. So if you go profile tables, I really like this because it gives you the details on the rules you've got in your entire list. So you can see here, it gives you the unit values, statistics for each one. It gives you the weapon statistics, the abilities, mounts, and command group upgrades. So I quite like this. This would be quite a good one to have just printed on the side, so you can just refer back to, oh, hang on, what does the chivalry rule do? Oh wait, here it is. It's quite, I like it a lot. If you go to pretty cards, this is essentially the same as the pretty option, just with a slightly different layout. But again, here it gives you the rules, tells you what they do. So you could essentially, oh wow, what's that done? You could print this, and it would, you could print it to a PDF and save it, and then take it with you to an event or to a game. I don't know what the rest of them do. I think these must be to export to other army builders potentially. But you can see the base concept here, and it looks like this is used for lots of other games as well. So this isn't a new thing for Baron's War, but the base idea behind the army builder is solid, and the way it works is quite intuitive. And even if you click here, if you just wanted to see what the options are for the troops before you even add them, you can just click and see it. So I really hope this is updated. So I'm really keen on it. I've been using it quite a bit. I'll show you some other lists that I've written. So I've got one here which is just over the 800 points, but you've got a tier 3 Baron, you've got a tier 2 Sergeant at Arms in there as well, so they've both got command group. So you've got the Mounted Knights and you've got the Sergeant command group. Then you've got some militant monks, a couple of groups of levy, and a couple of groups of bowmen. And it gives you the breakdown by sort of like points. So your warriors are worth that much, your baron's worth that much. It's quite good in that respect. And then the other one is not dissimilar. You've got a mounted baron. In fact, I've got 2 mounted barons in there actually. I'd have, yeah, that's wrong. So if I wanted to edit it, I've locked this one. So how do I unlock it? And that's another thing, you can lock the list so you can't make any other changes to it. I've got see here. So it's probably this one I want to get rid of. So actually, I was doing myself out 50 points there. So I'll have to go back and adjust that. But yeah, look, thanks for watching. It's a really good army builder. I've enjoyed using it. It's available on the Play Store for Android. I would be exceptionally surprised if it wasn't available for iPhones as well, or Apple, on the Apple Store. And I'm using a Windows PC here to run it, and you can see it's very good. It's very well laid out. So I definitely suggest checking it out for anyone who's into the Barons War, and hopefully it's helpful. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.